Social Justice Paladin, Episode 25, Politics, Part 2 of 4. Part 2 is Participating in the System. I joined the military in 1982. It was President Ronald Reagan's first term. I remember sitting in a semicircle on the floor in basic training. We weren't allowed to use the furniture in the day room, as Staff Sergeant Mullins read out the day's orders, and he said, through clenched teeth, "You guys are lucky to be coming into the military when you are. We have a president who's pro-military, and short haircuts are coming back into style." It was as close to humor as we were going to get from him, so we just took it. The great communicator, Ronald Reagan, was president for 2 terms, the second term being a landslide victory, as I remember. However, in his last couple of years, his faculties started to slip, which was more than enough bait for the mainstream media to fish up images of him, quote, accidentally pressing the nuke button.
Morning, dear.
Hey, Nance, what a terrible dream. I am parched. That's better. I could use another one of those. That's one heck of a nurse.
And then after Ronald Reagan came George Herbert Walker Bush from 1988 to 1992. 1,000 Points of Light and the first public mention of the New World Order.
It is a big idea, a new world order, where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause.
Here's a picture of George Herbert Walker Bush in Dallas as a CIA operative at JFK's assassination. I'll bet he remembered it for real. I thought the only reason George Bush Sr. became president was because he was Reagan's vice president, but that's just me. And Desert Storm kicked off January 1991. I was still teaching electronic warfare at Keesler Air Force Base. I remember requesting, and being denied, being sent overseas, and their explanation was that they needed me to stay and train the younger troops who were going to go there. Whatever, their loss. After GHWB, Bill Clinton was elected president in 1992, to a lot of people's surprise, not the least of which was us being from Arkansas. Presidents just don't come from Arkansas. They came from the East Coast or California. Plus, he'd already by this time been involved in a couple of high-profile scandals, like Whitewater, Jennifer Flowers, and Vince Foster. Monica Lewinsky wasn't even on the radar yet. So the fact that he had already overcome all of these obstacles said about as much about George Herbert Walker Bush as it did about the changing morality of America. Bill Clinton was president from 1992 to 2000, which covered a lot of my military career. I remember vividly his affair with Monica Lewinsky, his impeachment, her blue dress, and all of that. But what I remember most was the indignation of my junior troops who were intelligent, followed the news, and were from all walks of the political spectrum. I understood the moral outrage. All you have to know about regarding their outrage is how the real military justice system works at their level. For most junior enlisted, the system is guilty until proven innocent. You can be convicted on the word of 2 or 3 witnesses. For example, if 2 senior enlisted NCOs agree that they saw you smoking pot in the dorm, your discharge papers will be drawn up and waiting for your signature before you even knew there were charges against you. And the same for DUI, fraternization, and a host of other uniquely military crimes. Now, put this in the context of Bill Clinton's revolving shenanigans. If any one of my subordinates had been accused of what Bill Clinton was convicted of, they would have been put under Fort Leavenworth, not kept their job and made in charge of it. The really hard part was being in the middle tier of the military injustice system. After many, many, many talks with the airmen and other NCOs, it came down to this. Because of our political system and our system of government, the president is the commander-in-chief of the military. But we don't swear an oath to the president. We swear an oath to support and defend the Constitution. We're called to respect the office of the president, even if the person sitting in the Oval Office acts dishonorably. And that holds for presidents on both sides of the aisle. After Bill Clinton came George W. Bush, Jr., 2000 to 2008. Of course, the biggest event here was 9/11 in 2001. See episodes 5 and 21. George Bush Jr. was determined to finish the job started by his father 10 years earlier. And so, my last couple of years in the military went out with a bang, just like an episode of Mythbusters. But the damage was done. By my retirement from the military, I was solidly, thoroughly a patriotic American. Now, I really liked George Bush Jr. In his first term, not so much in his second. It seemed he bought into the Democrat pleas for, quote, bipartisan lawmaking, which subsequently rendered him ineffective as a leader. What did he care? He was lame duck by this time, and the war was behind him. His legacy was secure. Thanks for nothing, Bush. Next, Part 3, Years of Apathy, which should be episode number 26.
And now for something completely different.
Old woman! Man, sorry. What knight lives in that castle over there?
I'm 37.
What?
I'm 37. I'm not old.
Well, I can't just call you man.
You could say Dennis.
I didn't know you were called Dennis.
Well, you didn't bother to find out, did you?
I did say sorry about the old woman, but from behind you looked...
What I object to is you automatically treat me like an inferior.
Well, I am king.
Oh, king, eh? Very nice. And how'd you get that, eh? By exploiting the workers. By hanging on to outdated imperialist dogma which perpetuates the economic and social differences in our society. If there's ever going to be any progress...
Dennis, there's some lovely filth down here. Oh, how'd you do?
How do you do, good lady? I am Arthur, King of the Britons. Whose castle is that?
King of the who?
The Britons.
Who are the Britons?
Well, we all are. We are all Britons. And I am your king.
I didn't know we had a king. I thought we were an autonomous collective.
You're fooling yourself. We're living in a dictatorship. A self-perpetuating autocracy in which the working classes...
Oh, there you go, bringing class into it again.
Well, that's what it's all about. If only people would...
Please, good people. I am in haste. Who lives in that castle?
No one lives there.
Then who is your lord?
We don't have a lord.
What?
I told you, we're an anarcho-syndicalist commune. We take it in turns to act as a sort of executive officer for the week.
Yes.
But all the decisions of that officer have to be ratified at a special bi-weekly meeting.
Yes, I see.
By a simple majority in the case of purely internal affairs.
Be quiet.
But by a two-thirds majority in the case of more...
Be quiet. I order you to be quiet.
Order, who does he think he is?
I am your king.
Well, I didn't vote for you.
You don't vote for kings.
Well, how'd you become king, then?
The Lady of the Lake, her arm clad in the purest shimmering samite, held aloft Excalibur from the bosom of the water, signifying by divine providence that I, Arthur, was to carry Excalibur. That is why I'm your king.
Listen, strange women lying in ponds distributing swords is no basis for a system of government. Supreme executive power derives from a mandate from the masses, not from some farcical aquatic ceremony.
Be quiet.
Oh, but you can't expect to wield supreme executive power just because some watery tart threw a sword at you.
Shut up!
I mean, if I went round saying I was an emperor, just because some moistened bint had lobbed a scimitar at me, they'd put me away.
Shut up! Will you shut up?
Ah, now we see the violence inherent in the system.
Shut up!
Oh, come and see the violence inherent in the system. Help, help, I'm being repressed.
Bloody peasant!
Oh, what a giveaway. Did you hear that? Did you hear that, eh? That's what I'm on about. Did you see him repressing me? You saw it, didn't you?